So it's been a long time coming, but I finally got my hands on it. Here is a copy of the Parkrun magazine. Thank you very much to Russ, Jefferys, CEO, and Kirsty Woodbridge, who's now head of global comms for Parkrun, for sending me an early copy. Thank you for all the communication, and thank you very much for speaking to me in various forms and having conversations about this magazine, because of course there's been lots of questions in the past. But now I've got it in my hands and I can show you what's inside. And then let's just go through it. Let's see what our immediate thoughts are. Right then, here it is. Let's take a closer look. The Parkrun magazine. So first impressions immediately are it's smaller than I imagined it was going to be. Not as thick. It's going to be biannual. I thought they might have more content, but I guess with the first one they don't want to go too wild. And immediate impressions looking at it, well, feel as well. So it's not super glossy. It's not super expensive paper. And the thing that strikes me first of all is Parkrun at the top there. Yes, it does have the Parkrun logo. I'm surprised from a first time point of view that they didn't have just the basic Parkrun logo there, enforcing the brand to first timers. So an interesting choice. I wonder what the decision behind that is. I know it's nice to have a handwritten font, but I'm just surprised they didn't have the Parkrun logo there. I mean, the proper one with the word and the tree in the centre. Yeah, I know it's there, but you know what I mean in terms of the bigger one. So let's take a look inside. Generic stuff with welcoming and a word from PSH, Paul St. Hewitt, the founder, talking about their aims, ambitions, touched upon Contra, photography and all the details as to who made it just down here. So like the Wind Media, photography by Bruce Lee unless stated otherwise. And they have community wellbeing training and other bits and pieces. So let's have a look at the next page. They talk about Sport England, Junior Parkrun, the milestones and the pin badges, the timeline of Parkrun. It's always nice to show first time just how old Parkrun is, because a lot of people don't realise it did start in 2004 and it's 18 years old. So that's grand. Volunteer focus. I'm not going to focus too much on articles. I don't want to spoil it for you, because I'd like you to actually go and get a copy yourself, feel it, touch it, read it. They talk about social life elements here, little mini stories about how Parkruns came to be. They are talking about the connections that people have, and Dr. Simon Tobin, who's a favourite of Parkrun, HQ for communication side of things, a big proponent of Parkrun. Practice makes perfect regarding the involvement with Parkrun and the GP practices and prescribing it, Parkrun for people to go there as a potential way to help with their health issues. You've got Hackney Marshes London, so a profile, I guess, of the cross-section of runners that take part in Parkrun. A bit of a strange article, I would say, that is just lots of random people and shots and having their first names. I guess I wanted to show, look, everybody of all walks of life. PSH did say in his foreword that there's no mucking around with Photoshop and trying to make people look all polished and beautiful, which is a great ambition. You're basically seeing people warts and all, as it were, and be sweaty after a run, and this is the reality of Parkrun. It doesn't matter what you look like. You might hear some jingling in the background. Thank you, Arthur, for coming along with his jingly collar. That's one of our cats. Obviously never work with the kids' animals, they're always going to interfere with this kind of thing. Finding their feet, they're talking about charity A Mile in Her Shoes, and then a safe space as to how Waterworks Parkrun helped transform that area, because of course Belfast and the division over there in the past. But yeah, talking about how Parkrun is bringing the community together. And then you have Vitality, so the wellbeing partnership. This is interesting. I wasn't expecting there to be something from the sponsors, but Vitality being the chief partner, the sponsor, then I'm not surprised they do have some pages within here. Sebco just up there. 5 reasons we love the barcode. Yep, we love the barcode. And then you have a little mini section just in here. Pull me out, pass me on. So if they're considering the event teams to use this as a device to get people to Parkrun, then there is a part within it that you are meant to hand out and say, look, can we encourage you to come along? So yeah, it's an interesting way of looking at things. At the moment, the articles, I guess, saying about the value of Parkrun and why you should come along. But if you've gone to a Parkrun, you're already there, and then you're going to be having this in your hands to then pass on to somebody to say, look, come along and take part in what I already do. Is the magazine going to reinforce that instead of your friend just encouraging you to come along, promising to go alongside them? Curtis Ledger, who I believe is Woodhouse Moor. Yeah, we've spoken about Curtis in the podcast in the past. And we've got Claudia Barrow in her wheelchair. So they're very much trying to show the inclusive factor. The Veracemy's just down here. So it's nice to see familiar faces. It's lovely to see familiar faces in the magazine. That is the aim and ambition. It is meant to represent everybody who wants to come along. Talking about community there, the hills, they're talking about training. I don't need to be told how to train. I've run long enough. There's Charlotte Purdue. If you need that sort of information and advice, you can get it, I guess, from things like Runner's World. Is it really that different? I haven't read the article. I wouldn't. If I looked over this, I wouldn't read it. I don't need tips to how to improve my endurance. I've been running for years and years now, a couple of decades near enough. But I'm sure it has some value to other people. It then profiles a parkrun Dudley. I've never done Dudley parkrun, so that's interesting to go through. This is something that I would read. I'm interested as a tourist to know about a different event I've not been to just yet. Root and Branch, talking about running amongst trees. I'm a big proponent of that in the peace and the quiet and the mental well-being. So I guess reinforcing that, but I don't need to be convinced about it. I already do it. And then recommending 5 forest park runs, again, would have some tourist value for me just there. Unsurprisingly, they do have some contra elements in here. Of course, they'd like to, again, reinforce the fact that this clothing is for everybody of all sizes. I have never had any contra clothing. Never been personally a big fan of the designs. There are a couple of designs I really like, but I've never got it myself. I mean, this is the thing I spoke to Russ, Jefferys, the CEO, back in February about, is that for a long time they would always speak about Contra as being like a friend of parkrun, and I was like, it's a bit strange to sort of separate the two. Contra is parkrun, they're fundamentally one and the same, so it's nice that they are having it, including it, and not pretending they are anything different. Numbers about improving parkrun experiences. Mike Graney talks about analysis of data. I don't need numbers and figures to prove the value of parkrun. I know that there are bodies and people out there who don't do parkrun and need to have the data to say, look, parkrun is a good thing. Why? You need to quantify it to me. I'm more of a qualifying kind of person. I see it firsthand. So again, I wouldn't look at that section. What am I looking at so far? I guess maybe a couple of bits within it. Roger Pangborn, lovely Roger. Know Roger well, fantastic ambassador. I would read that section. And 5 parkruns with being next to water. Again, maybe it's tiny. I mean, just a very short section, almost like filling in at the end with 5 events to go to that are nearby water. There aren't many parkruns that aren't actually that far away from water of some form. And then that is it. So yeah, Tring Parkrun, which is no longer going on anymore, but a fantastic photo by Bruce Lee. And then of course you've got the partners at the bottom. So immediate thoughts are, I would read perhaps 2 articles, maybe 3 in there. It's always and was always going to be a bit of a puff piece because it is an official magazine about their organisation. Am I underwhelmed? Yes, a little bit. Just going through again. There's nothing wrong with it, but there's nothing amazing about it. I think the best way I describe it is that it's extremely vanilla. There's nothing wrong with vanilla. Loads of people like vanilla, but I would put some sauce on my vanilla ice cream and some sprinkles and maybe some chocolate flakes in. So I'd like a bit of pizzazz. There's no humour in it. From what I've seen, I know humour is subjective and therefore I guess they want to just stay right down the middle, and I think this magazine does it. It keeps right in the middle. It's appeal all. It tries to be as open as inclusive for everybody potentially. Yeah, it's just there, just is. Nothing amazing, nothing that strikes me, but nothing that really disturbs or perturbs me about it. It's just a generic parkrun magazine from what I can tell, and that's just my opinion. Please look out for it, a parkrun near you. Please pick it up, have a look through. If you do have a copy, if you had a copy, let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and thank you for watching. Don't forget to give us a like and subscribe if you haven't before already. Lots of parkrun tourism videos coming up in the future. But thank you, huge thank you once again to Parkrun HQ, to Russ Jefferys and Kirsty Woodbridge for sending me an early copy and facilitating this, allowing me to have a peek. Take care, all the best, see you soon.